Yeah. Yeah. That was nice.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yes. No.
There. Nice.
Nice.
Good morning. It's Jams in here. So, I guess if you can see the screen, it's the 5th of January. It was very unusual. I haven't been able to see not Venus trailing after the sun, but you can see Mars come in after sunset on a perigee. I want to play a little clip here from Solaris Blue Raven, where she describes the AI and as a targeted individual. Understand on gross levels On a gross level, what we're talking about is you have a person who's like a computer or a biofeedback device, a bio API, and we are connected. Now, targeted individuals get abused and manipulated for different reasons in this spectrum. So you have us, and we is connected through the ether to the AI and to other things. So this ether can be hacked, and this ether is hacked. The ether is hacked by the satanic regime. But let me play Solaris here. She took... Oh, hold on. I have to plug my speaker back in.
Specifically, Solaris, on your take on mind control, which unfortunately for you, that's a very I guess personal experience as well, and also wanted to talk to you about the involvement of AIs, and I think taking out the human equation when it comes to controlling human minds as well, and having it, I guess, automated, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's where we're heading. Well, that's what's already being deployed right now in the underground. So just however you want to address this, I can start now, or I have a lot of data on it. Obviously, with John Storm, he's the first generation MK Ultra. I'm obviously a very different generation. I'm more of the artificial intelligence interface generation. So what I went through is something that I think the major mainstream media is being prepared for, mainstream period, not just media. But I think eventually they're going to be deploying this stuff and communicating it more and more. But basically it deals with artificial intelligence interface with your neural circuitry, interfacing the brain, the neural circuitry, the four-body system, the vitals, everything gets interfaced onto the artificial intelligence. But before that gets done, you're interfaced with a live handler real time, which is what happened to me in 2004, where I was trained and programmed with pattern recognition and learned to really handle the communication system in general, especially as a spy bird in public and things like that, where he trained me. And then I was interfaced with AI. And the AI is where they do the mind control, because in the spaces, in between the spaces of while you're trying to think for yourself, there's an overlay. In other words, they'll try to label everything you're looking at, or they'll create sentences or finish sentences, or then they'll start something where it's an interrogation program and they'll continue on with a topic and do a looping so that you're stuck in that whole orbit. And literally what you have to do is kind of tell yourself, I'm not listening. If you engage it, you can interact with it, but it's still an artificial intelligence designed like a chess game.
Is the sophistication of this AI, how would you, do you know it is an AI, or is it so sophisticated that it really fools you?
No, it's artificial intelligence, and I can tell because originally, before I started doing the research on it, I knew I was dealing with my handler live feed real time who announced himself. And then, I was interfaced with the artificial intelligence design work, which is based on an array system, and this particular artificial intelligence design is embedded in the underground, which means it's part of the, what I call the black military program. It's not part of the regular mainstream CIA mind control program. This is something that's a little more exotic. So that's the technology I'm talking about. This is the technology that's being used in the Black Space program for remote piloting. Interface with artificial intelligence is very natural. I believe, David, I sent you a movie that I saw. Gosh, it was just the other week.
Yes, that's right, you did.
That's exactly like, the monitoring chip and everything. The name escapes me, obviously, but that whole concept, literally, we're talking about a technology that's actually already here. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's actually very, very close to the real deal in Black Space Underground.
Wow. Mickey and I last week, we
Alright, that she talks very fast, but trying to get this camera to get a view to see out there. Can't make it to close. Some people encourage me to get off this topic, and I appreciate that, because I would like to get off the topic. But this is part of when you go into the heart of darkness. You know, Joseph Campbell wrote about this in Hero with 1,000 Faces or something like that. That once you make the journey, you go deep into the rabbit hole. Yeah. Once you make the journey and go deep into the rabbit hole, you know, and find out that you're here under circumstances which you don't quite fully understand. Sometimes we don't understand everyone who is behind us in our past. But whether you want to consider us a farm or a cartoon or whatever, we are. On this level we are. This is very real level what we are. When you meditate on the beauty and the bliss of what we are, you can understand that the ones who are behind and above us this time maybe you won't understand. And here is where you come to a special reasoning and power to understand it's careful whether I choose the word what or that at this point. Let me say it two different ways, because you probably have to understand the two different ways and read in between the lines, you know. This is where you read in between the lines. So, understand that you don't understand. Understand that you don't understand. That in itself can be read more than two ways, or at least two ways, easily. Understand that you don't understand. This is kind of when you get into computer programming and you get into recursive programming. Recursive programming is like a miracle, you know. Yeah. Like in programming, you have to type in a lot of things, In recursive programming, you've gotten something down to like an atomic level, a nanobot level, where you don't have to keep type, you say do this, whatever. You can just say bop. And this one thing is able to, in a sense, reincarnate itself. And keep digging deeper and get the thing done for you. And all you have to do is just call its name. That's how you do. You have to call its name. You have to know its name, you know. And you have to know how to call them. Like sometimes, if you call them and you don't give them everything that they're expecting, when they get there, they can act crazy. That's like with people on earth. They think they know what they're doing, and they call demons because they found a book that Solomon used. But the stupid people still don't grasp context yet. And they don't understand the AI, and the AI is going to keep moving, depending on what you're doing. That's why the AI is moving this way to chip us, because we just keep getting worse since the 21st century. Or you make a pretty infrastructure with roads to travel and secret tunnels and secret ships and electronic things to store your memory and your pictures everywhere. But what you've achieved on the human scale, and what you've done with your children, okay, you're going to be punished for that. You will be punished for that. You can be sure. You can be sure at this state that humanity has lost its rights. You can be sure you've lost your rights as humans. You have to pay for water, okay? So you're not part of the bliss. You can't find a woman and touch a woman and fall in love and create new life and come into bliss and have children and say, "Here, child." You gotta say, "Here, child," when you're thirsty. Now you gotta buy water. So that bliss is gone, you know, when you have to buy water. You introduce these economy shackles, and you become part of the matrix, and it just grows and grows. So until you have fully woken up to that meditation, that you don't have human rights, okay, and you're part of this slave colony here, okay, you're just like, I'm not going to judge you. But I will testify to you that in my most high code breaking, you better watch out. You better not watch out if you're not with the one that's called Jesus Christ. Because all the other ones, even if you think you're by yourself, you're actually abandoned. There's no one that's by themselves, you know. When you get abandoned, Satan gets claim on you. Those are the rules of the game. Yeah. So if you want to play the game, and you want to try and do this thing they call save your soul, yeah. If you want to do the thing called save your soul, if you want to play that game to save your soul, I really suggest you follow the one called Jesus, because I don't know any other way that looks good to me. And you just got to follow him, you know. This is a race we're in. And we've lost the human race. His Majesty gave an order in 1963 that we're to become members of a new race. And he said the Christian spirit is supposed to guide this to world happiness and peace, so that men of goodwill can come together and collaborate. Those are orders from 1936 and 1963. That's why Hitler got the Italians and came into Africa, went into Ethiopia in the mid-1930s before anybody knew what was going on. Because Hitler studied those things. Yeah. And he knew that if he was going to take over America, he had to go to His Majesty first and attack his source, okay, and get the Spear of Destiny, and what other sacred things could have been taken from there. But you see, these guys, like, you have to understand that these guys, the Nazis and the Zionists and all these scientists, they have used science and technology to study the blood, you know. And they studied divine ones on earth. And they took like the Dead Sea Scrolls, and before they went public, they snuck out secret ones through Damascus, through what was, before it was called the CIA, about identifying bloodlines of Daniel and prophetic ones who had the natural, you see, like how your brain is, and the cerebral fluid, and the cerebral spinal fluid, and the kundalini, and all them type of things. All them different races and all them things call them different things. But like Daniel said, the Father can do it to anyone, but the bloodlines have certain predisposition for these things to happen. So these CIA and Nazi scientists have gone all around the world and studied the shamans, and study how the shamans can be with the weather and the storms and the rain. And they've gone to other people and studied them and how they can be with the sun and earthquake and lightning and people and healing and different things. And they understand certain science, technology now that they've incorporated into the AI so that they can do these things. You see, very important to understand about these guys, who is these same type of magicians, the Hebrews that do the Kabbalah. It progressed from, you know, people finding a little secret and then tricking other people. It's what it all come down to way back in Africa and the Middle East back then, and people find out a little secret and then trick other people for entertainment and power and control and thieving, and all, it just conspires after that. So that's how you have the magicians that used to come into towns and everyone would say wow and call them prophets and such. And they had certain powers. And you can see in some of these magicians doing things on TV, you know they have to be working with a combination of high demons and secret military, anti-gravitational and holographic technology. And demons. So I'm not going to try and discern there. Where was it? I lost the track. What were we talking about? The magic. The magicians coming through. Oh, the scientists. Okay. So you have like these scientists like Dan Winter and Richard Allen Miller, and on a lower level you have these other ones like Richard Hoagland and these guys that come on to the alternate media scene. And you have like Dan Winter, he's like a Pied Piper for these little Sedona shitheads, that they're little racist, little preppy little kids. Most of them come from like some Norwegian or Sweden, the Nazi background, you know. They don't even know it. You would never see one of them raise a sign or say anything about Palestine or what's happening in the Congo or South Africa, or who's Julius in South Africa for the youth. You would never hear anyone in Sedona talk about Julius Malema in South Africa, or Noor, or anybody in Palestine or Gaza. These are the Sedona little things that, like the Nazi COINTEL scientists that come up with all this racist alien agenda shit, so that they develop a new generation of racists with these little kids that don't care about other people, that is, you know, maybe in a different place or have a beard. Yeah, you see the beard. It's very good to understand some things sometimes. Oh, but I was saying about some of the lines, like your brain, the way your amygdala and different things, and the way your fluid in your brain, okay, it helps create the magnetic resonance that gives you power to transmit. You know, there's a lot of studies about, or different types of stories you can see. You have to, at this point, look for evidence which is self-evident. You have to learn to discern and look for evidence which is self-evident and resonates with your soul, because there's so much lying shit around from these COINTEL people. Because you see, here's another secret level which is hard to even talk about. We do have this holographic quanta nature. So if we talk about things enough, we do make it true. And that is our truth. Our reality has become abominated here. So there's that type of a problem, you understand. Yeah. There's some different problems we get into. What level was it talking about? The AI machine? Or some why I do some things, because I would like to stop some of these things, because you see, what I was talking about, Joseph Campbell, he would talk, when you go on certain journeys and get certain experiences, it's impossible to be the same. That's why soldiers who go to such things have PTSD, and people who go into child pornography, they say, or child pedophilia, they say you can't reform them. Because, see, once they get certain images, even images from child pornography, once you get to image even, you get polluted. And then they can manipulate the image. It's hard to control some things, you know. That's why all this bullshit about freedom of thought and all this type of thing, just because you can think up something. I really think at this point in time, people shouldn't even be allowed to, whatever. It's happening. The AI is making it happen. People can't think their own thoughts anymore, and they're getting chipped, and they're getting programmed. You know, Jesus warned and tried to teach the people back there and teach them Zen, but the people couldn't understand things, you know. And Jesus condemned Peter himself for having the thoughts of men. I don't need to prove too many different things after that, you know. So, I had comment back to one of my brethren here on the YouTube that really, besides being okay, what happens is you can call it your emotional state. You can call all your different emotions part of you. Say you have these different things. And you can also say you have different spirits in you. That each one of your emotion is a spirit. And you have different spirits in you that come forth, because certainly sometimes, you know, you see people, maybe yourself or other people, you see people when people get mad and angry, they're like a beast, or they're irrational, or they're just ranting and stuff, and you say they're not themselves. And that, you know, like you're turning the egg around. And you're right. Because what is our self and what is our ego is this thing that the Germans have put on the earth from Freud and Edward Bernays, and part of the Protocols of Elders of Zion, and how we define ourselves. But if you start to look at your emotions as puppet strings, and actually being operated in the spiritual dimension with neurochemicals coming down to our physical level being expressed here. Take it one step further now to the concept of being obsessed with a topic or being possessed by an emotion or a spirit. Now, if you can follow that and put it out in points and say, okay, you have different spirits. Some are more peaceful, some are more irrational or rational or emotional, or high or low or violent or loving or tender, or different things can happen, you know. When that spirit come out and different chemicals come true, you can have sexual things and you get your sexual arousal. Yeah. And that is the Most High Code that if you want to understand how manipulated and how great they are who coded us, how great they are, how genius they are, meditate upon this code. It's a very high code we have in our eye and in our whole system as men when we see a certain shape of a woman. Okay? When we see a certain shape of a woman, okay, you see our eyes when we see the shape. Think of a dog. When a dog smells another dog, you know, like when another dog and they meet and they smell and they want to go smell their in between their legs there. You see, like when the dog, like a man dog or another, let's just take a man dog and a woman dog, and the man dog go and sniff, go in there sniff. You see that code? That's in our eyes. And it's connected into our mind with men and women in a certain shape. And it's really kind of, you know, it provides men with such a appreciation of the heights of the Father in creating beauty and bliss and whatever this thing is we called. If you just want to come down to geometry and shapes, whatever it is, but this is what we call beauty in things. And we can go into high meditation over these objects. And this is the Most High Code of like like if you can meditate further to imagine being an alien hunter in some aspect of an alien hunter, and you have your radar device, like even when you're driving on the road 50 miles an hour, and if you see some nice shape in someone's yard getting out of their car going into their house, and you're on the road, you see that shape over there. Yeah. Men see these things. Men have alien code detector in them, like spaceship, to zoom in on shape of these other creatures here. So they put this code in us. We have this code. And it's real. And even when you come into meditation and live like a monk or different things and try, you have to stay away from it, otherwise, because like when you get near the thing, it's cold. It's like when they put fire on your skin, you know. Almost. Maybe it's just like that, whatever. Because I know if you're driving by on the highway and there's some heat in somebody's yard or a fire, you don't feel it. But if you're driving 50 miles an hour and there's two shape in that yard, you feel it. So these are the Most High things. And this is why they do it to get us to reproduce, because they wanted to make ourselves like nanobots. On some level, you see, we're like nanobots like them, We're supposed to be caretakers of a higher level of consciousness to graduate. Like they have ants and nature to take care of things, and they have, light beings to take care of the atmosphere, and they have red dragon inner earth to take care of inner earth and tectonic expansion and other type of elementals. And then they got us, which was supposed to do something. And you see, who I believe we are is not who we are really exactly. Because I find all of us can be possessed. And all of us are subject to the AI. You have to there can be maybe different ones different, but I don't know about them right now. I don't want to talk. I'm going to talk about all of us who is possessed, and that is everything I know. It's possessed by the AI. And to understand it, you have to look at these possession strings like puppet strings and accept that they exist and that we have been manipulated and there are puppet strings. And these puppet strings come to us in lots of ways. They come to us almost in an infinite amount of ways, because even as we discover them, because we're dealing with the AI and this veil, okay, the AI is going to move and create other veils. Dealing with the living thing. It's not someone just hiding behind a rock, because the rock isn't dead, And everything is going to shift according to a certain quantum balance type of situation. So I was talking about one thing, with the scientists. If you go into Acts chapter 8, verse 27, you'll see this is when the apostles first got a good feel and I don't want to use the word control, but a good relationship and a good feeling of control or management of the Holy Spirit in Samaria there. And there was like a magician in the place called Simon. And when Simon saw them and saw the power that they got to do miracles, Simon said, "Hey, can I get in? How much can I give you to get in on this deal?" And believe me, Simon got traced after that, where Simon went begging them to take back the words that they put against Simon, to think that they could use money to get into this. Now you see, that's where we are today, and it's taken them 2,000 years, and they've gotten into it. But with all this, how they've just taken all the resource energy of this good planet Earth and the good working people and put it into their secret space projects and secret technology to mind control and secret underground bases. And their fraudulent nuclear energy that is sapping off everything through their false insurance. Yeah. You see, what people can't accept about Fukushima and these other things is that the nuclear radiation thing is a false flag scam. Nuclear radiation is a false flag scam. And study Galen Windsor. Galen Windsor is a chief whistleblower. Okay, there are also several anecdotal stories I've heard otherwise that confirm, people being exposed to so-called deadly radiation and nothing happening to their military career and them testifying about it. I heard one researcher, Boyd's, I forget his last name, Boyd Smith or Boyd something, talk about a military story he heard about that also, and someone else. Leaving that, where was I on the Netflix there? Maybe I should wrap this up, so I forget where this one started, and I'm not sure where I just left it. If I left it anywhere important. Oh, I was talking about in Acts of the Apostle. When the Holy Spirit, because the apostles were not in a responsible group, you know. They're not intelligent, and they were not responsible, and they were cowards. Okay? Sorry. They're no good. So the Holy Spirit had to go with the most trusted man in the world at that time, who was the minister under Queen Kandaki, Queen Candace, the queen of the Ethiopians, who had charge of all her treasure. So by definition, you're talking about the most trusted man there. That was the eunuch, okay? Quite often back then, the trusted ministers of the pharaohs and all those guys were eunuchs. You can figure just what we were talking about. Because if you get a regular man and the woman come near him, they can get him to do almost anything. It's hard to trust a man. And you can connect that to the fallen angels, to the ones that tempted the fallen angels, you know. Whatever. So, that Holy Spirit, okay, which went resident there at Ethiopia, is protected by His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie. Okay? That Holy Spirit is not dependent upon any arrow or any box. That Holy Spirit is given to the one by the Most High. And it can be anyone. It can be even the lowest one. Yeah. Not just one of the royal ones coming out of the bloodline house, you know. Daniel testified to this. And the Father will prove it in different ways. So, that is something that these occultists and down to like these scientists like Dan Winter, that's leading one of the chief scientists, Pied Pipers of the Starseed Age, the Sedona babies. They're like third generation Nazi children that so they have captured and gone into many of the high Nephilim secrets of creation by studying divine ones and studying people like shamans and people that come out of a divine race like the line of Solomon and David, like I come out of, and studying our powers in secret projects like the Secret Montauk, and put us under as secret subjects from childhood, and have done manipulation on us throughout history. And you have these Nazis now who've stolen these secrets by studying us, and these neuropathy and other psychotronic and telemetry things coming off a satellite, and all this shit right here, where you get gang stalked. You see, coming down to the public is this level of this technology being used to gang stalk people and regular people and different people for sexual or different like local purposes or different cultural purposes to promote racism. Okay, like what happened here with me. Yeah. Come feed you to the lions, you know. Yeah. And set you up and MK Ultra you. I know, you see, like when they set you up like this, there's many different simulations. People, there's different levels of people. Like, okay, you see some programs, some TV, some movies like Ender's Game, and you see them training young space cadets to go off into space. and you're hearing some news like from Andrew Basaggio and other people that testify to these programs and testify to knowing other people in the program like Barack Obama and George Bush. When George Bush was like a 20-year-old or teenager too. And George Bush is telling to the other guy that he found out that him and his father are going to be president in the future. You see, this world in this matrix is a big setup from this COINTEL operation. And who's going to be president, these things they lay out well in advance in most cases. Where was I losing this one? I was talking about the COINTEL and the Dan Winter and teaching about plasma. Okay? And how the elementals of nature, he's not revealing the true elementals of nature and how he has stolen them and Baphometized them and not giving credit for where this true knowledge came from. This is how the COINTEL operates. Okay, like they went into Africa to steal secrets and minerals and different things. And why do you think World War II, everything started by them going into Ethiopia? So anyways, back to our Acts of the Apostle, you see, it was there that the Holy Spirit then went to reside in Ethiopia for the protection of His Imperial Majesty. And the last rightful ruler is His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie, who represents that Holy Spirit here on earth. And that Holy Spirit here on earth is represented not in a fucking box, but becomes resident in a person and is hypostatic with that person, as it was with Jesus Christ in the great fashion. And through time, the Holy Spirit has different vicars on earth. And that has been stolen by many of these religious institutions. And just like they have set up presidents and set up popes and set up Talibans and all different type of setups. Yeah, that Holy Spirit, you know. The Holy Spirit at times He's like a referee, you know. The Holy Spirit at times is like a referee, and at times He's like a goalie, a good goalie, making saves, making some spectacular saves sometimes. So I guess this is almost reaching long enough. I'm supposed to compress these videos and send them up to YouTube now, so not sure where this talk went, but that's what happens. Bless up from Western Jamaica. This is Gems in.
Blessings, everyone. This is Sandra Walter, coming to you from Sedona, from the beautiful vortex of Cathedral Rock. I'm actually in the saddle. It's Cathedral Rock behind me. And I found that the saddle area, which is like the dip in this canyon range, it's very powerful for me. So I've enjoyed spending some time here, and I wanted to update everyone on this fifth, sixth dimensional gateway opening. Those of you who are joining in might be feeling a shift in your skills. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit, because when we're working with, let's say you have some Pleiadian, Syrian, Lemurian connections, you might feel a draw to sacred sites, an interest in crop circles, a strong connection. I mean, I can just feel it right now. It's just kind of seamless right now, and I think this is part of that whole spiritual maturity that I talked about as light servers. We're taking it up a notch, and this is becoming a very natural state of being. Of course, there's personal challenges along the way, just with travel and stuff, but when it comes to the work, to the mission, to the journey, I'm on it. And not only that, but it's co-creating with these sites, and it's like I said in my last video, you know, everything is becoming sacred on this planet. It's a state of being. It's not religion in any way, shape, or form. But when you're working with the elementals and the kingdoms, we're discovering that it is a co-creative force going on. It's us, it's our galactic self. I'm so aware of my galactic and intergalactic self right now. It's fun. It's very fun, because in the beginning the experiences were, it felt like it was outside of myself, and now I realize it is myself, and it's always been that way. This is part of the merge of the higher levels and lower expression. I don't even know how much longer you can even call yourself a lower expression. You know, if you're going through this merging process into this Christed state of consciousness, the unity, it takes it out of the realm of theory and speculation as to just how unified we truly are, just how multidimensional we truly are. And when you're working with your multidimensional self, when you are your multidimensional self, and you come to a site like this, or you're guided anywhere on the planet, even your backyard, to do this kind of work, or even if you have the intention and the desire to speed up and accelerate the shift in consciousness, to accelerate the ascension process, not just your own, but on behalf of all concerned, Gaia, humanity, the kingdoms, the elementals. What you're doing when you're working with these sites, or working with the planet now, is the sacred sites themselves that have been used for so many different purposes throughout our long and diverse history here. And I'm not just talking Atlantis. I mean, Sedona is very connected to Atlantis. A lot of the, and we have that Wesak moon coming up in May, according to Tib and the Metatron channelings, big moon over Arizona in May. And any time a marker like that comes up, it's not just Tib marketing his get together, but it's, you know, he's doing it for a reason. So give him a break. But the gatherings and things like that, I mean, there's always preparation, there's always confirmation. When you really follow your heart and you follow your intuition, you get on the road and things start presenting, and then it's like, oh, and this, and this, and this, and by the way, it's preparation for this, and by the way, the frequencies are becoming impenetrable. You know, this is something that you can't manipulate anymore. Yes, folks are going to try. And again, when I say, you know, there is no more dark, I'm talking about, you know, negative ETs. You know, I think it's beautiful, as I've said so many times, and as I said in my course, I think it's beautiful that it's just up to humanity. You know, it's humans making their own decisions without anybody, you know, standing behind them doing things. You know, that's all gone. Now we're just dealing with ourselves, which is collective. And we have a big soul group that went through that Atlantean thing that, you know, was trying to recreate the same thing, which was originally done on Mars. You know, if you have some Arcturian blood, you might be kind of intelligentsia goody two shoes this time around, because you get a little bit of galactic karma going on with, you know, the same thing had to play out on this planet that played out on Mars when it comes to the Atlantean phase of our history. And, you know, I was on the team back in Atlantis that was like, you're gonna wreck it. You're gonna blow up the planet. Remember what happened on Mars? You're gonna blow it up. Don't do it. And you do as much as you can, and things have to happen anyway. It had to be repeated on Earth. But if you look around, looks a little bit like Mars in some areas. Yeah. And this is why, this isn't just iron oxide in the rocks here. This is not just oxidation going on. This is red to the core. Anywho, little distraction. But when it comes to working with sacred sites, the sacred sites themselves have never been through a shift in consciousness. All the ancient technology and everything, they have never been set up to deal with an activation and acceleration of the ascension of an entire planet or an entire race. So you can study ancient history as much as you want and go, oh, that was cool, that was cool. Please don't try to recreate it. Take what you need and discard the rest. That's the rule over and over again. Learn what you need, but don't follow anything blindly. Don't make it a religion, please. So when you're doing this kind of work, talk, communicate with the elementals, communicate with the kingdoms, mineral kingdom, get yourself on the ground, and try and understand that when you propose, we're asking, we're honoring, even at Cathedral Rock, and how beautiful the energy is here. There's nothing is bigger than you are, and you are not bigger than anything else. This is unity consciousness that we're moving into, and when we start learning about that, we get into an area of it's such a beautiful co-creation. It's constant exchange of information. I'm thinking about doing this. What if I place this crystal here? What if I do this? What if I do that? And they're speaking right back to us and giving us information. So pay attention. So when you hear Sedona and don't know what's going on, for me, it's the site of some karmic drama that I cleared a long time ago, and I had to go through the Mojave, I had to go through here, a couple of other places, and go, okay, brand new energy, completely different, all the old stories, gone, sealed, Akashic, set on fire, poof, gone, let it go. And I want to emphasize that too, because as we move into this creative intelligence, as we move into the divine love, the divine unity, the divine will, it is a beautiful co-creation, but it's brand new. So even, whatever you're guided to do, celebrate everybody's expression of what they're being presented with, because it's going to be completely different. And don't think, I was in Sedona 10 years ago and blah, 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 or last year we already activated. Sedona doesn't need to be activated, and neither does Shasta or any of those other sites. What we're doing is we're coming into these places with the intention of using the grid systems that have been completely restored and aligned. And this isn't just ley lines. This is like old stuff, new stuff, crystalline grid, all of these things finally aligned and work in 100% capacity. So when they got turned on in, last fall, when they got turned on, we're able to use those. They were turned on for a reason. We made it. We made the ascension in December, and now we get to speed it up. And when the information comes in to start opening up gateways, do this. You're opening up a gateway not to release the dark. You're opening up a gateway to pull in those interdimensional frequencies, the photonic magnetic light, the information, pulling it into Gaia with your blessing, into Gaia's core, pull it in and expand and accelerate. And it affects every particle, if you so choose, every particle of consciousness on this planet. And if you work with that intention, highest interest of all concerned, go. Accelerate. Speed up the shift. Speed up the ascension. And when this kind of work starts presenting, and then our misguided brothers start pulling really ridiculous stuff to distract, that's an immediate confirmation that, yes, indeed, energies are available right now. And when I see, oh wow, I don't watch television, so I don't remember when that event happened in Boston, but walking by a television in a cafe, and I see the little scroll thing, three dead, 144 injured, and immediately I'm not triggered by, oh my gosh, oh what happened, oh this is a sign or whatever. I see Trinity, and I see 144 activation. Trinity activation. We are receiving energies right now that are activating the divine state of humanity and activating the 144. That is that divine perfection. It's like a little key. Doesn't work throughout the whole universe. Let's not go there. But here, during our activation, that 144, remember when I said it's like a combination lock? You'll get little things, little triggers for your personal thing, or for this, for more of a galactic, more of a global activation. When you see those numbers coming up, it's like, this is the little message that gets sent, and it's inevitable. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anyone throws at you. It just rolls right off. It doesn't affect at all. And if it is, you're being triggered, and this is something that people just have to learn to turn it off. Turn it off on Facebook, turn it off on Twitter, turn it off on your television, whatever. Turn it off, go outside, do the work. That's my highest and best advice as a big sister. Tough love. Get out the house and get outside and do some work. And it can be as creative as you want. Don't nobody tell me they don't know how to do it. You know how to do it. Go outside, see what happens. It's that easy. You want to grab crystals? Awesome. You want to play a bowl somewhere? Awesome. You want to do all of that? You want to grab a native flute? Go out and say, I'm going to activate this entire mountain with this one note. Don't even think that you don't have the power to do that. Dear divine, beloved, solar, cosmic, Christed, divine, human, ascended master that you are. This is, we're moving into this, and very quickly. And when you get out and you do the work and you're presented with a sacred site, like, it's pretty dramatic. When you look at Cathedral Rock, you're like, wow, and then you feel the energy. It's like, yeah, it's good, all right. And it feels completely different, over and over again, completely different, for me personally. But you get outside and you work with it. It doesn't matter if you're not clairaudient, claircognizant, clairvoyant. It doesn't matter. Trust your heart, trust your intuition, and don't like read a manual somewhere and go, we have to do it this way, and then you get out and you're like, I don't know, it feels terrible. You gotta go with the flow. You gotta see what's available right here, right now. But the energy that we're working with is of a much higher light intelligence, a much higher frequency than we had access to before. And as you open up these portals, these gateways, Sedona's already a gateway. Of course. It's huge. It's a huge cross point on many different grids. It's a huge ET hangout, benevolent. No longer having anybody else hang out here. These places, you are clear, good to go. Honestly, I know it's hard to believe, but we're here, and for the folks doing the Atlantean work, careful. You don't want to slow yourself down or the shift down by doing something that you may or may not be aware of what that actually does. So be very clear. I'm not criticizing anybody else's work, just to be clear on people who are touchy. Take a look at why you are touchy. Just saying. But when it comes to opening these gateways, gatekeepers, a lot of people ask me, am I a gatekeeper? I wrote about this last week. I'm of the ilk that I'm like, if you're a gatekeeper, you're probably out doing the work right now and don't need to ask. or you got presented with dreams of gateways over and over again, or you're seeing stargates, and you're guided to go to a certain space, you don't have to ask me and write me for, if you need permission, all right, permission granted. I think Bashar does that, permission slip, here you go. And Bashar, that's you know, the Bashar, the Yael, you know, all of that stuff, it's all manipulative, conspiracy, E.T., against my will, blah 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 rhetoric and stories, until your hybrid children start showing up, and then your heart's going to break wide open with love. So you got to let go of all of the old stuff, and kind of update your database. you need the upgrade. This is the new version, the 2013 version. So here we are doing the work. The gateways pull in this interdimensional light, and they help accelerate the shift. How does it feel? If you're sensitive, you're going to feel really good, and it's like your body is sitting on a vortex. You know, the vortex energy always amplifies whatever it is you have going on. So if you feel emotional drama, I think Anelia wrote about people feeling angry. I haven't felt angry in a while, but but the collective, yeah, I can see that, you know, and a lot of people getting pissy about things that other people are doing. My answer is always the same. What does it matter to your journey? Get on with it. We're creating whatever we want. If you want to create waiting and looking, you know, there's no armchair available. You know, you can watch the shift. You know, what's that about? You are the shift. If you're awake, you might want to take some responsibility and help speed it up. You know, if you're getting frustrated, it's your own fault. If you're getting frustrated, it means you're just frustrated with yourself. You know, the whole mirror thing, and the mirror is not a one-to-one. You know, it's not a direct reflection of that person is telling me this, and therefore I am that. You know, it's not a one-to-one ratio. The mirror is something that helps you transcend certain lessons that present, you know, or you're assisting other people. You know, I'll get into that with the emotional clearing. Ooh, which I can actually shoot that video in the next couple of days if this space holds true. I've been presented with a space for 4 nights, which means I can shoot some video, which will be awesome. And so this will be the last one outside for a little bit. Oh, so beautiful though, isn't it? It's great. It's great. It's great to be warm too. Wow, it's very nice. Arizona, very interesting. Very interesting. I keep saying interesting because it's not my favorite place. Not my favorite place in the galaxy, but it feels a little too much like Mars to me. But so it is. You know, that's my own thing. I have to get over the whole Atlantis thing, because it's never gonna happen again. It's awesome. It's fantastic. Okay, so from my heart to yours, open up, dear ones. Open up to the highest skills. You are gonna be shocked at what occurs. Oh, you know what I'm gonna throw in this video? Okay, here's Grand Canyon before, when I got there. This is cloudy sky. I'm gonna put the picture in here. And Grand Canyon, after about 30 minutes of hunkering down on the south rim and opening the gateway. Yeah, notice the big spiral cloud. Okay, so why does this happen? When I activate counterclockwise. For me, is opening up a portal, a vortex, a gateway. Sometimes it's Vesica Pisces, but when I'm doing like a big area, when you get sent to the Grand Canyon, and I'm like, whereabouts on the Grand Canyon, and they, higher levels, again, it's me and all of my cohorts and my intergalactic cohorts. You know, when we all go, oh, the whole canyon. Okay, that's a perfect challenge for a light server to have. To realize you're there, you're ready, it's you, go. Pure conduit, open up, here we go. And it just happens, you know, working this big, wind, don't blow over my video camera. Okay, opening up this big gateway and everything, and invoking, commanding, decreeing all the stuff that comes with it, and feeling incredible presence, feeling the true self, the big me that I am, the much larger entity that I truly am, and all the different facets, all the different communities and families and councils, a lot of galactic councils, Gaian councils, all kinds of councils presenting, which relates to those dreams that we were all having back in December. You might start stepping up and going, oh yeah, this is part of the council work. And when I'm spinning this open, and after 30 minutes, I'm looking up at the sky, and the sky is this, the clouds are reflecting this big spiral. The elementals are giving me a big thumbs up. It's not like, oh, look what I created. I considered it more of a confirmation, or a thank you, or maybe actual energy moving the clouds around in that same pattern. But it was something that I needed at that point. It was like 2 weeks into this journey, feeling all these things, and it feels like really internal, personal sometimes, and other times it feels like you're like 10 galaxies away, going through galactic center, like sending energy. It's like, oh wow, it gets very big. And when you don't, and sometimes, folks like me, I'm traveling, I have no idea what I'm doing or where I'm going to stay or anything, and when I start getting frustrated or fatigued because the energy is like incredible when I'm doing this, and then I was feeling a little wiped out, so it was a nice confirmation that yes, it's happening, this is working. So here I am at Cathedral Rock, and working with Sedona, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful to be here, to appreciate it, to love it, to have so many connections with the Hopi here and those past journeys. It's really beautiful. It's like a nice little summation of everything, and seeing and observing how much everything has changed, and understanding what all of those all this old trials and tribulations ain't nothing. I'm not just talking 40,000 years, I'm talking 240,000 years. Beautiful to be able to shake it off completely, and then you have like little things present in your life, and you're like, like, I don't know, what's a good example? Oh, I camped out at Bell Rock, and you're not supposed to, and I got woken up at 1 a.m. by a very adorable deputy sheriff who just wanted to make sure I was okay. Hey, this is federal land, you're not supposed to camp out here, and if they catch you, sleeping here or anything, that you're gonna get a ticket or a fine or something like that. But I just want to make sure you're okay. You're not cold. Like, he was just like, it's beautiful, and I think it's just that energy, that energy that we all carry around, because everybody's like that. It's very nice. But when things like that happen, I'm like, well, I can't camp there anymore, because then it looks rude. I want to honor the man's job as well. I'm like, well, if I show up the next night and he's around, that's not cool. That's not cool in my book, to take advantage of people like that. So I'm like, all right, well, he told me the rules, and I said, cool, thank you. But little things like that present in your journey, and I was very tired the next morning, and I'm like, must find a bed somehow, and one night of sleep, off the ground, out of my car, did wonders for me, so you have to. There's the personal things, but there's so much more going on. I mean, you could be easily triggered by, oh, those federal people want, that's technically our land, blah blah blah. I mean, that whole polarity game, that duality stuff is just so over for a lot of us. And when it presents, it's just like, people are like, oh, well, the federal land, you should fight this, fight that, or whatever. I'm like, I opened a fifth dimensional gateway over the Grand Canyon. just saying, it's okay that I ran out of water and almost fell over on my 4-hour hike the first day through here. Not the smartest thing, but like, it, who cares? it doesn't matter. You know, it's like the bigger stuff is fantastic, and the love is there, and the synchronicity continues to unfold and present lessons for us as individuals and collective lessons for moving out of the past completely, because it's a program. You know, you can get stuck there for a long time, and the minute you shake it off and go, not for me, nope, not participating, doing something else, that's your freedom. Yeah, okay, I know I've said that before. All right, so here we are, fifth dimensional gateway. Woo! Look how gorgeous that is. Isn't that beautiful? Can you see the moon too? Anywho, I love you. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.
This one.